everyone, it's the 3rd of December 2025. I'm Gary Waterman, a former UK police constable. I'm going to show you some emails now in relation to the legal process against me and how it is relating to international government fraud. And in fact, multiple people connecting to this court case are now confirmed as being linked almost immediately to the centralised criminal network, which links to the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, and it is now linking into the Vatican, to multiple murders and into the Italian mafia. And the significant evidence around Jill Dando has really helped to support how huge this criminal network really is. So you can see here an email that I received on Monday the 24th of November 2025, and this was after I deliberately didn't attend court on the 18th of November because the warning signs were so huge. The prosecuting legal team were refusing to answer any questions. They were refusing to identify themselves, trying to make me believe as though I had to have a solicitor, which is not true. Many other questions were just completely ignored, very relevant to a case like this, bearing in mind the evidence that I've got. Now, they have deliberately not interviewed me. They're refusing to say why, which is a huge warning signal suggesting that no matter what, under any circumstances, they will not be allowing me to expose their system through their legal process. So I'm going to show you the document that was attached to this email, and this is what they sent me, and it was basically inviting me to come in voluntarily on the 4th of December, I believe it is. Well, they've refused to identify themselves again, so I have absolutely no idea who is actually sending these documents, and I have asked multiple times for names to be put on there. You can see there is no name, which is a deliberate attempt to avoid accountability and liability for whatever it is they may be planning against me. So this is the email, or the document that was attached to the email. It just mentions the offences for which they are trying to set this court case up for. But in relation to the disablement of the cell tower, I have no idea what's happening with it. And they've, as I've said, completely refused to interview me at all. And you can see on the letter, no name whatsoever at the bottom, even though I've asked repeatedly for a name to be put there. This is a huge warning sign. This was my email response, and I've copied in multiple MPs. You can see Keir Starmer there, Tom Hayes. I've also put Shabana Mahmood. I've put various other emails, including the PIRC, which is the Police Independent Review Commissioner, I believe that stands for, and many others. And I'm going to show you another email in a minute. And in this email, I basically said, this is just the one that I added because I, for whatever reason, it hadn't included their previous emails. But I said, if we go further down, good morning, thank you for your email. As you're aware, I'm a former police constable for 18 years service, and this relates to irrefutable evidence of decades-long major government fraud against the masses. This is by the forgery of the Companies House registration system and documents, and along with deliberate non-verification, it has knowingly facilitated the laundering of money in relation to international conflicts, terrorism, drug trafficking, people trafficking, and apparent abuse, torture, and murder of children. These are crimes against humanity and directly violating the government's own criminal legislation. Despite the latest verification measures, which began on my proposed court date, the 18th of November that was, there are obvious measures in place to allow the laundering through secretaries and the use of virtual secretaries that was established through research of the intelligence agencies. You appear to have ignored all of the serious concerns, my questions, and any identification again. I've now acquired further significant evidence, including regarding the CEO of the Scottish Courts, and Tribunal Service, and the ACC, the Assistant Chief Constable of Police Scotland, as shown from page 660 of the main evidential research document attached. And again, I asked the very relevant questions. Please provide the following information: another copy of the letter showing the name of its creator, your name at the bottom of another email detailing the following: your complaints procedure, the details of the prosecuting solicitor, the head of your department, the consequences of me not attending, information on how I can ensure that any trials are visually and audibly recorded and publicised, information on what options are available to ensure my safety on attending, during and leaving the court case, explaining why an interview was not conducted with me regarding the cell tower despite me making numerous requests. This suggests you will not be allowing me to lay my evidence under any circumstances and plan to end my life first. I have to consider that. Information on how to extend court dates due to the evidence that I'm trying to acquire in my defence. I have had no response from Police Scotland's data subject access request regarding this. Information on how to obtain information and evidence regarding my time previously detained at the court and from during the court process. You had suggested I email Police Scotland with these questions, so please provide a suitable email where there is accountability and liability. Now I've got about 40 reference police numbers that are all being completely ignored from UK police forces, pretty much all of them. Explain why you have suggested that I must have a solicitor when I know this is not the case. The evidence shows all solicitors are centralised to the fraud. It is very apparent that by you further ignoring these questions, my life will be at risk in attending any court process. There is significant information showing that you are tracking my location anyway, and I expect that my life may be taken at any time. I'm not suicidal or depressed in any way. I am of good health. In the interest of humanity and the children, this email will be placed in the public domain. Thank you very much. So that was sent there's the date, on November the 26th. Now since that time I've conducted significant more research, including into Jill Dando and very significant big other subjects, and this is what I've emailed them today, because I've had no response from the first one. You can see the date that I've sent it is somewhere here, and I've included a lot more emails on here now. You can pause this or slow it down and look at all of the emails that are on there. I don't know why there's duplications, but I've also put it through to the Madeleine McCann team, investigation team, the Serious Fraud Office, the Independent Office for Police Conduct, the World Economic Forum is in there, the NSPCC, the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, and you can see I sent it today, Wednesday 3rd of December at 15:44. And I say good afternoon to the supposed Crown Prosecution legal team at Inverness, copied into many. I'm a former UK police constable, and I'm very saddened to say it is now overwhelmingly evident there is a centralised, serious, organised criminal network amongst international government organisations, including your legal process, that is now being exposed. Relevant information is being continuously avoided by you regarding what is a blatantly corrupt criminal court process, and all police reports and emails to MPs are being completely ignored. Further research has been conducted on various subjects since our last emails, including Jill Dando's death from 1999. Substantial evidence supports that Jill Dando's death is likely related to the forgery of the Companies House register and the centralised criminal system in place, and what she was possibly discovering in relation to it. The research regarding Dando connects to the Vatican, apparent serious crimes against children, the collaborative deception of the world wars, and multiple high-profile murders. This includes links to the Italian mafia and a poisoning in prison, which obviously means the risks to me are very high in all of this. All connecting to the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales and the centralised criminal system involving Police Scotland, the Scottish Prison Service, and the legal process surrounding Inverness, and therefore the case against me. Most areas of the research are connected to what I suspect is an infiltration of the Church of Satan, a company called the Satanic Temple United Kingdom, the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales Company, and cases of tortured children and their blood, and it seems a plan for a falsified prophetic event on earth as the system becomes exposed. Research regarding the Irish Republican Army also suggests that it is part of the centralised deception, making the exact same connections. It is apparent that every high-profile case and major event researched, including missing Madeleine McCann, and all terrorist events quickly connect to the same names and criminal companies. This provides a motive for a problem, reaction, solution, deception against the innocents that have been suppressed, exploited, victimised and been made to suffer, imposed on them for so long, seemingly fermented from the Reformation of the 13th century and the formation of governments. I doubt it is a coincidence that the Minister for Justice, David Lammy, publicised proposals to remove juries for criminal court cases up to 5 years sentence the day after I received an email from you asking me to attend on the 4th of December, but refusing to identify yourselves and answer any questions. I have to consider that this is to stage an unfair trial and ensure I am imprisoned unlawfully and possibly have me killed in prison. It's no surprise that the research from David Lammy quickly connects to the Royal Foundation and the Prince and Princess of Wales again, and to David Beckham, who has allegedly just been named in the Jeffrey Epstein files. I advise that the full truth about the criminal system is publicised in all mainstream media, and that the relevant measures shown towards the bottom of my main evidential research document are implemented as soon as possible to enable a reset to truth and a new system which will practically bring heaven on earth. Of course, disclosure of the truth will expose you all, but it is the only right thing for you to do, and I struggle to believe that you're all willingly evil, as is appearing to be the case. I'm trying to save everyone, but I believe that can only happen through full disclosure of the truth, repentance and a collective commitment to change. I haven't put this, but obviously there will need to be consequences for those that are instrumental in this criminal organised network. I've attached an updated main evidential research document which includes a full summary and shows the latest evidence mentioned, as well as additional acquired information regarding Hunter Biden, Donald Trump, Barack Obama, birth certificates, the Iona prophecy, John Smith and Justin Welby, and the Titanic. I urge you to please do the right thing and save any future generations being subjected to such crime and suffering. Copied to Keir Starmer's office, the World Economic Forum, Home Secretary, the Serious Fraud Office, the Independent Office of Police Conduct and many more. Please forgive me for any spelling mistakes, as well as infiltrating my devices repeatedly and recently removing my access to WhatsApp. The spell check has been removed and my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. The information shows that any court attendance or my arrest would likely be a death sentence for me, so I cannot attend. I'm not suicidal or depressed in any way, and I am in good health. Thank you very much. Kind regards, Gary Waterman. And this is the updated main evidential research document that was sent on that email, as well as my updated statement, which goes into quite a lot of information surrounding my arrest. And on here we have the information in relation to David Lammy. And I'll just have a quick look at this if it loads up. And this just shows, remember the emails on the 24th of November that I received from them. The day afterwards, on the 25th of November 2025, articles emerged that the Justice Secretary David Lammy was trying to remove trials by jury for all but serious crimes, meaning one person decides the verdict on defendants for crimes with sentences up to 5 years, which would include the offence for which I was arrested. This gives the ability for the real criminals to limit exposure of trials and imprison those trying to expose the criminal system and the crimes against children. Although it claims this does not relate to Scotland, with the timing and the following research, I have to consider that this was due to the possible pending case regarding me disabling a cell tower. Research shows that David Lammy became the Justice Secretary from September 2025, having been the Foreign Secretary since July 2024, as I was establishing the connection to the fraud and adrenochrome, the blood taken from tortured children. So September is actually the month that I was arrested. Here's the article, just so you can see this. It loads up. There you go, and it's a BBC article, and you can see the 25th of November 2025, and it says Justice Secretary wants jury trials scrapped except in most serious cases. So the day after I was having this correspondence with the Inverness team. A Companies House search shows David Lammy having been a director of National Youth Theatre of Great Britain, in brackets the, from 2016, which is as the Pizzagate scandal was being exposed, and he resigned in 2021. The company was incorporated in 1961 and has a forged register. Nicola Jane Howson connects National Youth Theatre of Great Britain to various Victoria Beckham companies, with the Spice Girls already having featured in the research of the Israel attacks in 2023, and David Beckham Lincoln Limited connected quickly to My Family, and David having recently been named in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Howson also connects to Pegasus Agency Limited, that was incorporated in 2014 and dissolved in January 2025 as the exposure continued. Pegasus companies connect to Israel intelligence companies. A LinkedIn entry suggests Nicola Hawson is also a director of David Beckham Companies and Footwork Management Limited. Footwork Management Limited was incorporated in June 2019, the month before Jeffrey Epstein was supposedly arrested, and an article was publicised regarding Prince Harry wearing the same pair of shoes for a prolonged period of time. David Beckham, Footwork Productions Limited and Harbottle and Lewis LLP featured throughout the fraud and according to the information is usually the solicitor used by King Charles, are shown on the incorporation document. Howson is also in the People record as having resigned in 2023 as the exposure continued. A separate search for Footwork Productions Limited, which was on the incorporation document, shows it was incorporated as David Beckham Limited in 1996. Its filing history shows that in March 2022 an application was made to strike the company from the register, and that on the 7th of July 2022 David Beckham's details were changed as a person of significant control. This was 2 days after CERN conducted an experiment for the first time since July 2019, which is the month that Jeffrey Epstein was arrested, a day after the Georgia Guidestones were damaged and removed, and the day before I approached Anthony Roberts of Exmoor Manor, leading to the evidence and the exposure. Victoria Beckham is shown as an active director and connects to 12 companies, including Spice Girls companies, already featured in the research of the Israel attacks, as well as Inside Track Company. David Beckham is also a director and connects to 12 companies, including, guess what, Ingenious Film Partners 2, which is shown on page 40 of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales, connecting most areas of the fraud. Andrew Jane Thompson connects Footwork Productions Limited to 49 companies, including various Queen companies, such as Queen Films Limited, which has just been featured in the research of Jill Dando. Thompson also connects to JP Morgan Corporate Services Limited, making a connection to the Flemings. It has a registered address of Canary Wharf, which makes connections to the leader of Qatar and Sherborne in Dorset, as shown elsewhere in the document. Dieter Philip ABT connects to National Youth Theatre of Great Britain to Young Vic Company that was incorporated in 1974 and has a forged register. Nicola Ann Dunn connects Young Vic Company to the Titanic Trading Company Limited that was incorporated in December 2010, the month after CERN Limited. It has CS Director Services Limited on its incorporation document, with CS Director companies making important connections to the research of the military, cell towers and the apparent blood of tortured children, as shown elsewhere in the document. The registered address is Queen's Island, Belfast, linking to the research of the Titanic and to JP Morgan again, and therefore the Flemings, as shown elsewhere. Brian Ambrose connects Titanic Trading Company Limited to Maritime Belfast Trust and Royal Mencap, which was incorporated in 1955 as National Society for Mentally Handicapped. The overview suggests its name was changed in February 2002, 5 months after the World Trade Center disaster, and not since. Its register has been forged. Yogender Amin connects Royal Mencap to Irwin Mitchell LLP, meaning a connection to Field Fisher Solicitors, which has the contract for the BBC. It makes connections to the royal family and the Paedophile Information Exchange and the Young Men's Christian Association, as shown elsewhere in the document. Referring back to Young Vic Company, Robert James Campbell Easton connects to 25 companies including Cancer Research UK, making connections back to AstraZeneca plc and the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales via Lloyds Bank companies again. Referring back to National Youth Theatre of Great Britain, Tanya Henrietta Black connects to Hampstead Child Theatre Limited, that links directly to Jewish Community Centre UK, the Hampstead Child Abuse Inquiry and the New Generation Europe Company, making important connections to key areas of the fraud as shown elsewhere in the document. Timothy John Lloyd Hughes connects National Youth Theatre of Great Britain to Ingenious Film Partners 2, shown on page 40 of the Royal Foundation of the Prince and Princess of Wales. All of this supports the growing evidence that people involved in my detention and the legal process may have planned to silence me before I have chance to lay my evidence in the court. This is supported by their refusal to interview me despite numerous requests and the evidence that is being acquired since my release. The actual judge for my case, David Harvey, also connects immediately to Ingenious Film Partners 2. Now that element of research that I've just shown you also connects now very, very quickly, almost immediately, to the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, as shown elsewhere in the document. So it's very clear that I cannot attend any legal process because they will be trying to silence me, and all of the warning signs are there to suggest this. The refusal to answer any questions, refusing to give their names, refusing to give the prosecuting solicitor and to answer any questions at all. So I have no idea what is going to be happening to me from now. I anticipate that they will be silencing me, either trying to set up a unfair trial process with one judge who will be corrupted, or trying to take me out prior to that, or take me out in the prison afterwards. Thanks very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.